Hello and welcome to the January update from Dean Park. In this update I'll be covering progress on the east end of the layout, specifically around the Embankment area, sharing some of my plans and basically just giving you a quick update on other things that I've been doing. Hope you enjoy. Any questions, please do get in touch. Starting at the signal and telecommunications end of the siding, you'll see that I've built the embankment up using a selection of Woodland Scenics fine leaf foliages, underbrush, bushes. This is the fine leaf foliage in to give a sapling tree. I've got horsehair bushes there to get a bit of texture variety, and I've also got some trees that I've made from seafoam. Recent addition to the embankment was these buddly eye bushes or weeds, and these purple heads were glued onto the Woodland Scenics fine leaf foliage. There's more of that as the siding progresses into the buffer stop. At the moment, as you can see, very little grass growing through the gaps between the sleepers because of the fact that it's still in use. I might give that a more of an oily, greasy look when I get onto doing other parts of the layout, like the TMD, so I might see when I'm at it, run the airbrush past that. But as you get further in the next clip, the nature starts to encroach onto the track work. This section of the siding brings the retaining wall into play at its lowest level, and as you can see around about the track area, nature has started to encroach and reclaim. Grass is growing over the ballast. There's more tufts of grass coming through between the sleepers. The rail heads have not been cleaned. This is no longer a used piece of track. There is some low-lying weed starting to grow over the rail head, and we've continued the buddly eye weeds, sapling trees and underbrushing bushes. Moving along the siding past the abandoned hopper that's been heavily weathered, we've got some debris at the side of the track here, old sleepers piled up. These were scale model scenery sleepers which have been sprayed and weathered down to look like they've been used and taken off the tracks and just dumped there. We've got a disused old pallet there as well, and again more buddly eye bushes. And there's more bits of detail that have been kind of buried under the undergrowth as well. And you can see here more low-lying weed and bush growing over the top of the rail. The final part of the siding is the buffer stop end, and this is a Pico buffer stop which I've modified by removing the lamp. I've primed it and painted it with various rust tones, given it a bit of weathering powder as well, just to tone down certain areas and highlight bits of rust. And the wooden blocks there, which the buffers would have contacted, they are being picked out in a more wood colour, a dark kind of brown with creosote type appearance. As you can see here, the tops of the rails are rusty. The undergrowth growing through the ballast is more pronounced. There's an abandoned length of rail there. This plate layers trolley has been abandoned and partially dismantled. The sides of the actual flatbed there dismantled, and it's all been rusted up and weathered. There are some more Burley bushes there with some more red and purple flowering low-lying weeds there, and the undergrowth is quite extensive towards the wall section, and there's weed and bushes encroaching onto the buffer stop. Up top, again, use of Sadek grass, woodland scenics materials to blend the wall into the surroundings. As I move around the embankment towards the road bridge at the approach to the station, you can see I've got some other bushes put in here. These are raspberry and bramble bushes, and they're made up from wire with scatter on them. I just purchased these recently, and they just slot into a hole that I drilled in the embankment, and they're quite effective actually at giving that impression, because you look at the rail side, along with bushes, trees, weeds, Burley, you've got the brambles and the raspberry bushes that never seem to get picked. They're just left to their own devices. Adding the small details to a scene is really what lifts it above, being a standard scene to something a bit more unique. I like to work in the details that I add by looking at the surrounding area on the layout. For example, I've got a road bridge here. There may have been roadworks going on at some point. Somebody might have stopped at the side of the road to change a burst tyre. The activities that go on the road are related in the area around it. So I've had 2 tyres tossed over the bridge there onto the embankment. These are scale model scenery tyres. The link to the kit is in the description, and I've put these in and then static grassed around them and put some underbrush and bushes. I've also got some traffic cones, 2 different sizes, one on the embankment and one down the bottom, and I've also got a warning road sign there saying that the lane's narrowing. So obviously some roadworks have gone on at some point, and some hooligans or drunken students or whatever have tossed them over the side of the bridge at some point. They've been there for a while, they're worn, they're dirty, like obviously they've picked up a lot of grime and stuff just from being in the undergrowth or with the trains going past with the filth and grime. So that's my little kind of scene there, a bit of detail, and I've tallied it in with some bushes and that to make it look it's actually part of the scene. If you watch my review on the ScotRail liveried Mark IIIs, I mentioned in that video that the couplers weren't that great. The coaches were far too far apart when the train was being hauled. What I've got in front here is 3 types of coupler on the Oxford coaches. The front one is the standard one as it comes from the box. As you can see, the gap there is quite horrendous. It's probably just about 20mm actually. The one in the middle is a Rocco style coupler. That the code for that is 40243. You get 2 in a pack. They're about £3.50. They're not cheap, but they're good couplers. And that gives a, shall we say, a medium style distance between the 2 coaches. It's good when the ScotRail Mark IIIs are being pushed from the back. If you imagine it, if I close it now, goes quite close, which still allows a bit of give on the curves. I'll just open up a little bit there. without the coaches touching and kissing. What you don't want is the two coaches rubbing together, because it's going to damage the paintwork on the end of the gangway. The one at the very back is another style of Rocco coupler which I've fitted to my swallow leverage ones, because they're not going to be pushed, they're going to be pulled. And these style are the more close coupling ones, if I get one out of the bag to show you. Again, these aren't cheap, but they're probably the best for the closest coupler. Okay, so again I'm using Rocco, but they're slightly closer than the ScotRail ones in the middle. When it's been pushed or propelled from the back, the coaches get very close and the gangways can kiss. Both coaches have a sprung system with the coupler which allows them to separate on the curves, so there's no derailing going to be going on here, but they can kiss when being pushed, so just bear that in mind when you're fitting new couplers to your Oxford ScotRail ones. I know that Ian across at AY76 has been experimenting with a coupling bar from Embankment, and they seem to work very well in both pull and propel. Finally, just a very quick update on the TMD. I'm now planning the buildings for the areas along the back of the TMD, which back up onto the backboards. So these templates there in paper are the plans for the depot office, and the one at the far end there I just laid down by accident, but I'm thinking I maybe kind of have another structure somewhere along there with maybe some cars sitting that have come round. The reason why I've lifted that out from the back scene slightly is I want to give the impression this is a road access. So by having it out, you can afford to have, you know, the imagination that the road is going behind the scene and away, instead of just butting straight up to the back scene, disappearing into nothing. So I'm trying to give the illusion that there is an access road at the back there, and obviously more depot space and car parking. This area is being cleared now. The locals will be moving away shortly to allow me to really start to plan in February, March, April and into the spring and the end of the modelling season. Okay, it's competition time, and what I'm looking for is a slogan or a catchphrase to go on the Dean Park channel. This will be displayed on the opening credits of a video, and possibly on the YouTube channel page itself and in my Facebook groups. Examples of that I've found are ScotRail were a better way to go, which is quite ironic. BR were we're getting there, and I think Great Western Railways had good ideas make a great railway. So I'm looking for a similar kind of slogan or saying. It's up to you to come up with the best one. I'll pick the best one, announce it in the February update, and we'll take it from there. So get your suggestions in the comments below or on my Facebook page. Good luck! Well, that's it for the update. I hope you've enjoyed it. Might not look like I've done much, but I've been doing a lot of work on that embankment area, getting it detailed, especially around the siding area with the buffer stops. So hope you appreciate that every month can't be a massive visual leap forward with regard to work here at Dean Park. The same will be the case for the TMD. It'll take months to plan and scratch build a lot of the structures that I'm going to do. I really want this to be a focal point of the layout, so I'm not going to rush it and make a half-baked job of it. I don't like doing things twice, so I'm going to try and get it right. So please bear with me with that. Any suggestions that you'd like to see in the TMD, as always, I'm happy to read them and take them on board. Thanks again for watching and for all your support. Cheers now. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have, why not check out one of my earlier videos? Or if you'd like something from the Network South East region, click on Richard from Everard Junction. The links are on the screen.